what the black man and woman needs to know about the nation, about the world, about themselves. Muhammad Speaks It. To order your 12-issue subscription to Muhammad Speaks newspaper, 313-371-7033. 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's Teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.
Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. So, Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, the alone do we serve, and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teaching. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is to be served, worship, or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farah Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We'd like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu Alaikum. We have Brother Wali Muhammad from New Orleans. We have Brother Stephen Cowan from Washington. We have Brother Mutakabir Ali from New Jersey. We have Brother Salim Shabazz from Atlanta. We have Minister Wazir from California. And we have Sister Nubila from Arizona. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farah Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Today we like to talk about the War of Armageddon, Islam versus Christianity. This is Joe Biden from CNN. It says Biden's chilling Armageddon warning sharpens the state with Putin. We all know from the teachings of the messenger that the War of Armageddon has nothing to do with Putin fighting Ukraine.
That's right.
It has absolutely nothing to do with that. The messenger asks us the question on our board, the actual facts board. It says, which one will survive the War of Armageddon? I want to start with, this is February 1963, Muhammad Speaks. It says, we seek truth and justice. The messenger said, this is in the middle of the article. The messenger says, we the Muslims are being persecuted in Monroe, Louisiana, and throughout North America for what we teach of these two flags, Islamic and American, and especially because of the following words that you will find on the blackboard in most of our regular meetings. Which flag will survive the War of Armageddon? Armageddon is the final war or judgment and separation of the righteous from the wicked, of which I am sent to teach. So the messenger in 1963, and this is why I like the history, they was being persecuted for teaching the actual facts board. The brother, Minister Troy, was in Monroe, Louisiana. The police attacked the temple simply because the brother was teaching from the actual facts board. Now, this in this paper, it has the actual fact, a picture of the actual facts board at the bottom of the article. This is what the messenger says at the bottom of the actual facts board. He says, true history and science of flags of Christianity and Islam, as shown here on the blackboard, is used to teach this science at Muhammad's Temple of Islam. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad believes that the citizens of any country should have a thorough knowledge of the scientific meaning of the flag that he is willing to give his life to maintain. Attempts are being made in Louisiana by the so-called Louisiana Committee on Un-American Activities to make it a crime to teach the historic facts surrounding these two flags. That's the history of the Nation of Islam. So the messenger told us, he says that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad believes that the citizens of any country should have a thorough knowledge of the scientific meaning of the flag that he is willing to give his life to maintain. Yes, sir. We should know the science behind our flag, because the devil fought for the black man not to know the science. This is the history. He fought in Monroe, Louisiana, plus in other cities throughout the nation to get the black man not to hear the science of our flag. So the messenger I read once, he was talking about if we become slumber with his teachings. He was saying that if we became slumber, like if we stopped studying, if we just became, people who don't look over his teachings, he said we will lose. He said the spirit that Allah gave us, it will die. And he said we will become as those who never heard Islam. And I can bear witness, because as a minister, I study as much as I possibly can all the time, but I still find myself forgetting stuff. It's just what it is. I have to go over. Sometime I say, let me read my student enrollment. And I'll be so like, wow, like I forgot that. Student enrollment, actual facts, the basic stuff. You have to constantly keep going over and over and over, because you will forget. Pray due to Allah. I remember the messenger was talking, I believe it was the Theology of Time. He was talking to Brother James Shabazz. He was teaching from the actual facts board, so he told Brother James to come draw on the actual facts board where he was telling them to draw. So Brother James, the messenger, was talking, and he'll say, okay, draw such and such and so and so. So Brother James started drawing, and the messenger said, no, brother, it's such and it's like this. So the messenger keep going. He talk a little more. Then he tell Brother James to draw something else. So he drew it wrong again. So he like, no, Brother James, you put this over that. He explained it to him. So he continues to talk. Then the third time the messenger told Brother James to draw something on the board, and he didn't know what he was doing. So the messenger said, no, brother, you got to, it seemed like he, like, brother, what you doing, But when he got to the mic, it seemed like he didn't want to just crush the brother. So he made a little joke, like, Brother James used to know this. He made it light. But that's another, because James was one of the brothers who went to jail with the messenger. James, because it was two James Shabazz. It was James Shabazz in Temple number 2, and it was James Shabazz in Newark, New Jersey. So that's just an example of how we always must continue, even with the basics. Because another thing I heard the messenger say, he said a lot of times we try to skip over the basics to get to the high science. He said, but from my experience, when you know the basics, you know the high science. because you can't know the science without the basics. You can't, no matter how high the science is, you always going back to the student enrollment and the actual facts, and no matter how high the science is. So the messenger taught us to know the science of our flag. Now, why should we, not only should we know the science of our flag because of the white man, because the messenger taught us, he said, you have the devil, then you got hypocrites and disbelievers. Because Joe Biden in this is talking about the war of Armageddon, but he's relating it to a war with Putin and the Ukraine. That's not an actual fact. The war of Armageddon is going to happen between God and the devil. Praise due to Allah. The white race is a race of death. That's right. So messenger asked us the question, which one will survive the war of Armageddon? Because both won't survive this final war. So not only do we have the devil, but we got the black man, who is the disbeliever. So the disbelievers are on the corner trying to speak against our flag. Because this is a video of the disbelievers. It says black is a color in a crayon box, not a nation of people. Now, this is why we must understand the science of our flag. Because when people attack the messenger taught us we are the Asiatic black man from the tribe of Shabazz. That's basic knowledge, but it's so important. Because the bus stops are attacking that. They saying black, and this brother right here was a lost found that just walked up to him when they was talking. So he trying to explain to this brother that he not black. You know, black is just a color in the crayon box. He asked the brother, he said, what land is called black? Because he said that black does not identify the black man with no land mass at all. So he said, what's black? Because when you talk about a Chinese man, his land is called China. When you talk about the Filipino, he comes from the Philippines. When you talk about the Spanish man, he comes from Spain. So the bus stops trying to oppose the messenger. They asked the black man, what land does black come from? That's not a nationality. So let's go on with the message, because we got to align the history up till today. So then the messenger goes on. He says, if it's a crime, or if these words, which one, meaning the American flag or the Islamic flag, will survive the war of Armageddon or holy war, or the war to end wars, are considered a crime or a teaching to incite insurrection or revolution to take America by force, cannot be proven to be true by anyone who may be, or anyone who may read this, or may have attended one of our meetings. He says, if Troy is guilty of teaching insurrection against the government, then I am the guilty one, because I am Troy's teacher. I would rather go to prison in place of Troy if this is the justice for the truth Allah gave to me. Praise due to Allah. This is the message. This is what we had to do to be able to teach the teachings of the message. And this is why I always talk about fighting all the time. Because we got a hypocrite. And the hypocrite ain't going to be here forever. We ain't always going to be able to blame this hypocrite for the failures of the nation of Islam. This hypocrite is on his way out. And when he out the way, it's going to be even for every minister that's in the nation of Islam. We ain't going to be able to use this hypocrite's name and commercialize off him. Say, well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is coming to Detroit for Savior's Day, and all the black people come. No, it's going to be, you ain't going to be able to use this hypocrite no more. So we, the messenger, said, how strong is the foundation? Yes, sir. That's what he asked. How strong is the foundation? The foundation of the Nation of Islam was on fight. The messenger had to fight to just teach us the actual facts board. When was the last time we fought to teach the actual facts board? When was the last time we fought to come to the temple? But the messenger said, if Brother Troy is guilty, I'm the guilty one because I taught him. So if he got to go to jail, I want to go to jail in his place. If this is the justice that we get in America for teaching the black man the truth. So the messenger goes on. He says, by the help of Allah and by the blood of the original man, whose father is the originator, I, Elijah Muhammad, will fight for this cause to get our people justice in America. And by the help and power of Allah and the power that is in the universe and the power that is in the Nation of Islam and the power of every atom that is bound in the planet Earth and that is bound in other planets. What angers America is just the idea of her 400-year-old slaves now wanting to go over to the paradise of freedom, justice, and equality under the crescent of divine religion of Islam, where they will have sincere brotherhood and friendship throughout the civilized world. He says, hurry and join your own kind. The time of this world is at hand. Yes, sir. Look at how the messenger said all he will do to fight for this cause. Let's read that one more time. He says, by the help of Allah and by the blood of the original man, whose father is the originator, I, Elijah Muhammad, will fight for this cause to get our people justice in America. And by the help and power of Allah and the power of that is in the universe and the power that is in the Nation of Islam and the power of every atom that is bound in the planet Earth and that is bound in other places. That's fighting hard for the cause. Praise to Allah. That's why I always bring the history. You can't find no cream puff stuff in the teachings of the messenger. He said, I'm going to fight for this cause to teach the black man the science of his flag. Now let's get into the science of our flag, the flag of Islam. Because we want to chase the hypocrites and the disbelievers. Now the hypocrites and the disbelievers say that black is a color in a crayon box, not a nation of people. But we say black is the name of the original nation. That's right. Black nation. Praise to Allah. But let's get into the science of why we saying all that. This comes from the flag of Islam. The messenger says, he says, Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, found us, his black people here in North America, which is spiritually referred to as the wilderness of North America. That's number one. Master Farad Muhammad, God in person, is the one who found us. The black man who was lost from his own kind. So that's number one. Master Farad Muhammad found us. Then the messenger says he has power over the heavens and the earth. He said he called us a nation for the first time. That's number two. Where was Bus Stop Bishop and these fakes talking about a nation in 1930 when Master Farad Muhammad found us? Master Farad Muhammad called us a nation for the first time. Marcus Garvey didn't call us a nation. Noble Drew Ali didn't call us no black man before Master Farad Muhammad made us to know that we are a nation of people. We are a lost nation of people. So the messenger goes on. He says this coincides with the Bible, which refers to him as making a nation out of us after he found us. He says, therefore, he began at once calling us the lost found nation of Islam in the wilderness of North America. He said he brought a flag to us, a flag to represent our independence as a nation. He offered to us a flag which represents an independent people. That's something important to know. He offered us a flag. What does offer mean? It means present or prefer something for someone to accept or reject as so desired. That's what offer means. Praise due to Allah. Offer don't mean force. Offer don't mean beg. Offer don't mean none of that. Offer just mean your desire. What you want. Do you still want to be a lost found with the white man, or do you want this flag? Yes, sir. Because it's only two choices. It's Islam or Christianity. Ain't no I'm an Israelite. Ain't no I'm an Orthodox Muslim. Ain't no I'm a black conscious Christian. Ain't no I'm a black national. It's only two choices. Islam or Christianity. Praise due to Allah. You either following the messenger or you following the death. That's right. Ain't no I follow the Honorable Minister Lou. It's only two choices. Islam or Christianity. It's only two choices. Because Allah makes the offer. The messenger didn't make the offer. Master Farad Muhammad came in 1930 to make the black man an offer. But he chose a messenger. Messengers say, I am a telephone. He say, Allah is on the other end. When you hear me, you hear him. So the messenger didn't give us an offer. Master Farad Muhammad gave us. So you can't say you follow this hypocrite Louis Farrakhan. I'm going to stay on him too. Because, oh, praise, I don't know who I despise more. This lying hypocrite Lewis or bus stop Bishop. I don't know who I despise more. So I stay on both of them. Because they two sides of the same coin. That's right. Both of them fakes. But let's continue on. So Master Farad Muhammad gave us off. He said you can accept it or you can reject it. You are the Asiatic black man from the tribe of Shabazz. But the disbelievers say that's a color in a crayon box. If that's what you want, that's good enough for me. But we won't allow them to confuse us. That's the only reason why we talk about this. Yes, sir. Because I always like to go to the old stuff. Let's take a blast from the past just for a second. Let's talk about this hypocrite in 1973. Because I don't like to seem like I'm just some out of control brother who just talk about fighting all the time. So I like to bring the history so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is this hypocrite in 1973 when the messenger was really alive. Because now the messenger's birthday, they say it's October the 7th. So not a hypocrite, just to block the messenger, got this meeting he had talking about the messenger still alive. So now the messenger's supposed to be 125 years old, somewhere on a mother plane. Just another way for this hypocrite to block. That sound crazy. How hard the messenger said he'll fight for the truth for him to be sitting on a mother plane watching this hypocrite turn the Nation of Islam to a cream puff Nation of Islam. But let's look at what this hypocrite was talking about. It's called Obey Allah and His Messenger. This is him in this meeting. Because what we need to understand about this hypocrite is two things you need to understand. Number one, he used to be talking on the national radio broadcast. That's number one. Number two, the messenger chose him because of how hard he used to go against Malcolm X. That was his audition to become the national representative of the messenger. So that same spirit that he had in 1964, he carried to 1975. Let's just say what it is. So this is him talking about obey Allah and His messenger. First thing he said, because he said a lot. In his first, I think it was 15 or 20 minutes, he was talking about the hypocrites and disbelievers among black people. Show you all this old my black brother stuff. That's how he started his lecture. He started his lecture by talking about those who try to put out the light of Allah with their mouths. Those are the hypocrites and disbelievers. That's what he was talking about first. So what happened in 1973, he was representing the messenger so hard that people began to threaten his life. So he said in this thing, he said that when he heard or when he learned that they threatened his life, he said he was so happy. He said he was happy like a baby when he get a toy, because he said he knew if the white man hated him so much to want to take his life, he said that he knew Allah was happy with him. He said, don't you think for 1 minute that I'm going to stop talking the way I'm talking. I'm paraphrasing. So he said that he knew that the white man wasn't going to do nothing. He said, because the white man's smart. The white man not going to kill me. But he said, you hypocrites and disbelievers among black people. He said, you are the ones who the white man will pay to try to take my life. So he said, take the money if you think you can. He said, and try it. He said, not only try it, he said, we will force your hand. And he said, when we see you, we will deal with you. Then he began to talk about how he told the messenger. And that's why I like, because he was dropping the science in this video. I give him his props. He was dropping science about obey Allah and His messenger. He said he went and talked to the messenger and told him that people was threatening his life. He said the messenger told him, oh, don't worry about that, brother. People have been threatening my life for 40-some years. So this wasn't him just talking. But when you go listen to him talk, then listen to the reaction of the FOI in the crowd. They falling out the seats, bearing witness to what he was saying. Wasn't no cream puff when you was defending the teachings of the message. Then he went on to talk about a disbelief. He was talking about how they say that black is beautiful. He said, no, it ain't. He said, no disbeliever who disbelieve in the teachings of the messenger is beautiful. He said, I don't care what they look like. That's what he said. He said, I will not rest until every black man and woman bears witness that Allah's God and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger. That's what he said then. So let's get into this science. Let's get into the science of our flag. So the messenger goes on. He says, since our flag has been given to us to represent us as an independent nation, it is referring to, in words, the flag of Islam. He says all this makes up the flag of Islam. He says, which is the sphere of life in the whole universe of space and man. That's what our flag represents. When you take our flag and you take the sun, moon, and the stars, all that represents the science of it. All that represents the sphere of life in the universe of space and man. Now let's break that down. What does the sphere of life mean? Because we want to break down the science like the messenger said. So let's get into a little bit of science. What is the sphere of life? When you Google sphere of life, it says these 4 subsystems are called spheres. Specifically, they are the lithosphere, which means land, hydrosphere, which means water, biosphere, which means living things, and the atmosphere, which means the air. So we just talking about the sphere of life on Earth. They say it's 4 spheres of life on Earth. We're not talking about the because when you talk about the universe, you're talking about the sphere of life in every planet. That's why the messenger said he will fight bound by every atom that's on other planets. Because the black man controls the whole sphere of life in the whole universe of space and man. That's what our flag, this is the science behind our flag. The messenger not just telling us like, oh, no good bus stop bishop and the rest of these fakes talking about naming yourself after some land. That ain't what he talking about when he say we are the Asiatic black man. That ain't got nothing to, nationality has absolutely nothing to do with the black man. To ask the black man, what nationality is he? It's like asking God, what's your nationality? God made the earth for himself. That's why the earth was made. It was made to be a home for the black man. That's why we crush bus stop bishop. If we was the real nation of Islam, being taught Islam like the messenger taught us it, we would crush him like you crush an ant, like you crush a spider, like you tear the spider web down with your hand. That's how we would do bus stop bishop. But it's a hypocrite in Chicago who has cream puffed the nation of Islam. So when bus stop bishop see Lewis and he see his FOI, he see a jelly donut. That's what he see. He see a bunch of jelly donuts. And when you go to the store or to the donut shop and you see all the little jelly be oozing out the donut, that's what he see when he see Louis Farrakhan's FOI. No matter if you teach a jelly donut martial arts, it's still just a jelly donut. That's what this hypocrite has done to the nation of Islam. Bunch of jelly donuts just sitting around waiting for this hypocrite to come to their city so they can have a big meeting. That's what they for. We can come and commercialize, I'm the Honorable Minister Lewis. You can even see all the stuff they try to sell based on this hypocrite. All of this nonsense that all these Muslims try to sell, commercializing on this hypocrite. So, the messenger taught us, he said that the black man in our flag, Master Farad Muhammad, is offering to us the whole sphere of life in the universe of space and man. Let's get into more of this science. So this is called teacher background on Earth spheres. We're going to get into all these spheres that I just read. It says everything in Earth's system can be placed into one of four major subsystems: land, water, living things, or air. These four subsystems are called spheres. Specifically, there are the lithosphere, which is land, hydrosphere, which is water, biosphere, living things, and atmosphere, air. Each of these four spheres can be further divided into subspheres. It's first one they start with is lithosphere. It says contains all of the cold, hard, solid land of the planet's crust or the surface. Then it says the semi-solid land underneath the crust. Then it says the liquid land near the center of the planet. That's what we're talking about when we say we are the Asiatic black man. From the all of the land on the surface, all of the land underneath to the crust and the core earth belongs to the black man. That's right. We could crush, but that's what I want. I want to crush him. I don't want to just hold my black brother him. I want to crush him. Praise due to Allah. I'm telling you straight up. I want to have Muslims bearing witness like they was bearing witness in 1973. That's how the Nation of Islam's supposed to be. But let's go further. That's what the lithosphere is. It says the surface of the lithosphere is very uneven. There are high mountain ranges like the Rockies and Andes, huge plains or flat area like those in Texas, Iowa, and Brazil, and deep valleys along the ocean floor. It says the solid, semi-solid, and liquid land of the lithosphere form layers that are physically and chemically different. This just talking about the land. We ain't even got into all the other stuff that these four spheres of life deal with. So it goes on. It says if someone were to cut through Earth to its center, these layers would be revealed like the layers of an onion. So when we talking about the black man, we ain't talking about nationality. Because when you talking about nationality, you talking about something that comes and goes. 1 minute you India, the next minute you Pakistani. 1 minute the white man say you a Chicano, then the next minute he say you a Latino. 1 minute you Spanish, 1 minute you from America, 1 minute you from that changes. But since the earth was created, those four spheres of life is still the same. So let's go on even further. This one is called the hydrosphere. This one says it contains all the solid, liquid, and gaseous water of the planet. Solid, liquid, and gas. That's what the black man, the Asiatic black man. This is what our flag represents. Yes, the messenger said the science of our flag. So he said when you ask the black man, which one will vibe? He automatically know Islam. Well, let's go on even further. It says it ranges from 10 to 20 kilometers in thickness. The hydrosphere extends from Earth's surface downward several kilometers into the lithosphere and upwards about 12 kilometers into the atmosphere. It says a small portion of the water in the hydrosphere is fresh water, non-salty. This water flows as precipitation from the atmosphere down to the Earth's surface, as rivers and streams along Earth's surface and the groundwater beneath Earth's surface. Most of Earth's fresh water, however, is frozen. Then let's go on to biosphere. It says contains all the planet's living things. Now, when you think about the planet's living things, you mainly think about animals and birds. Let's see what biosphere really is. It says it contains all the planet's living things. This sphere includes all of the microorganisms, plants, and animals of the earth. Everything that lives on the microorganisms belong to the black man. So when we say we are the Asiatic black man from the tribe, we talking about everything, the whole sphere of life in the universe of space and man. So let's go on even further. It says, within the biosphere, living things from ecological communities based on the physical surroundings of an area. These communities are referred to as biomes. Deserts, grasslands, and tropical rainforests are three of the many types of biomes that exist. They breaking all of these different forest fields of life can be broken down into more subgroups. These are just the four main groups. There are four spheres of life on the earth. But you can just go to organisms and break that down into many different subcategories just with the organisms. So it goes on to say, it talks about the atmosphere. It says contains all the air in Earth's system. It extends from less than 1 meter below the planet's surface to more than 10,000 kilometers above the planet's surface. This one we talking about all the air or oxygen or atmosphere on Earth. I didn't even know this. The atmosphere goes 1 meter below the ground. 1 meter. Then from that 1 meter below the ground, it goes 10,000 kilometers outside of the earth. I was like, wow. Some I ain't know. And they said that 10,000 kilometers is 6,213 miles. So 6,000 miles outside of the earth is what the black man owns. When we're talking about the four spheres of life just on this planet, we control or own the spheres of life on Mars. That belongs to the black man. The sun, moon, and star belong to the black man. So it goes on to say, it says the upper portion of the atmosphere protects the organisms of the biosphere for the sun's ultraviolet radiation. It also absorbs and emits heat. When air temperature is lower, portions of this sphere changes, weather occurs. As air is, the lower atmosphere is heated or cooled. It moves around the planet. The result can be as simple as a breeze or a complex of a tornado. So we own that. The tornadoes, hot and cold temperatures, all this belongs to the black man. So when the messenger taught us that we are the Asiatic black man from the tribe, he is not talking about nationality. He said, Master Farad Muhammad came and offered the black man a flag. He just offered it to you. You can accept or reject. You can accept bust stop Bishop Nathan. You can accept him talking about you an Israelite. Israel only been a country since 1948. Before that, it was called Palestine. This is what I want to say, representing the teachings of the message. It never was a great nation called Israel. There never was a black man who was an Israelite, a Hebrew, or a Jew.
That's right.
Never. What happened was Moses came. The messenger taught us. He said that the white man spent 2,000 years in the caves and hillsides of Europe. He said after those 2,000 years, God sent Moses into the caves. He said he taught them Islam. He said the white man couldn't accept Islam. So he watered it down. He added paganism to it. And they called it Judaism. Then the messenger said some more time went on. The white man added more paganism to Islam. And they started to call it Catholicism. Then the messenger said that wasn't even good enough for the white man. He said some more devils came. Added more paganism to Islam. And they started to call it Christianity. That's why the messenger said, what is the birth record of said others than Islam? He said Buddhism is 35,000 years old. Christianity is 551 years old. That's the teachings of the messenger. So after Moses gave them Islam and rejected, all the rest of the black, deaf, dumb, and blind black people who did not know the truth started to accept what? Judaism. Start calling themselves a Jew. Start believing that because I was a Jew, I'm God's chosen people. I'm God's nation. Israel starts with Jacob. That's when the nation of Israel starts.
Yes.
God's nation starts with himself.
Yes.
Messenger told us God created himself in the triple darkness of the universe. It took trillions of years for God to create himself. Then after he created himself, he made himself a home. Messenger said he made for himself a woman to reproduce himself. That's why we say the black man is God.
Yes, sir.
The black man don't become God. The black man don't accept Islam and now he God. The black man don't learn his lessons and then he become. The messenger said every time you look into the face of a black man, you looking at God.
That's right.
That black man might be a junkie. He might be a wino. He might be a pimp. But when you look in that black pimp's face, you looking at God.
Yes, sir.
That's the teachings of the message. The black man was never a Hebrew. The black man was never Israelite. Israel starts with Yaqub.
That's right.
That's who Israel, but the messenger said, he said the prophets could not come and give us straight truth. He said they had to veil the truth, symbolize it. That's why the black stone in Mecca. Because this is another thing that must stop Bishop be telling the black man that Muslims worship a rock in Mecca. This how silly we could crush this fool. This Mecca. Let's just talk about Mecca. The messenger taught us. He said that Mecca, we will not rule from Mecca. No, we ain't gonna rule. The messenger talked about how the Bible talks about a new Jerusalem. The messenger said you could build heaven anywhere. He said heaven is a condition of life. He said you can build heaven or you can build yourself a hell. So the messenger taught us. He said that stone in Mecca or that sacred mosque, because that's what it is. In Mecca, they built a mosque. A mosque is a place where you pray. So when you see Muslims prostrating like Jesus prayed, I'm going to bring that next week. We'll talk about that. Jesus prayed with his head on the ground. Abraham, all the prophets prayed like Muslims. So when those Muslims come to the sacred mosque, all of them can't fit in the sacred mosque. So they outside of the sacred mosque praying just like they would pray if they at their home mosque. So the messenger said, he said that stone in Mecca represents the black man. Yes, that's what he taught us. He said that they make 7 circuits around the Kaaba representing the millennium or the 7,000th year. He taught us that the white man, Yaqub gave the white man 6,000 years to rule. So he said after that 6,000th year, the Mahdi or the Messiah would come. But he said it always had been veiled. The truth has been veiled until the end. So God will come and raise up one to unveil all that truth that has been under symbols. So for years, it's been under symbols that the black man is God. Yes. But it says the earth belongs to the Lord. That means the black man. That's right. The black man is the Lord. Yes. So the white man calls it a landlord. That's what he called it, a landlord. The black man is the landlord of the universe. I just want to say, because there's so much stuff I want to say that we're not going to have time to say. But in my close, I don't want to die before the real nation of Islam step to this fake like Muslims used to do with the message. Yes, sir. I want to live to see that. Yes. I don't want Bus Stop Bishop to change at all. I just want to live like David. When he sold Goliath, he walked in there among them and seen their knees shaking. He said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that all y'all shaking in your boots? Even though it took a long time for God to give David the green light. But he always looked at Goliath in his mind and in his heart. He said, you just don't know. All I need is one rock. And I'll sling that rock and bust your head wide open. That's how I feel about the teachers of the message. When I see any hypocrite or disbelief, they just don't know. Bus Stop Bishop Nathaniel just don't know. He ain't never seen a Muslim in his life. He wouldn't have stepped to the messenger or none of his ministers with this kind of disrespect. Because I don't want people to think that Muslims would just beat you up. That ain't how it is. Any form of attack, the messenger had ministers and FOI that could deal with any form of attack. You got 7 different types of attacks. You have a verbal attack. You have psychological attacks, mental attacks, all kind of attacks. But the last kind and the one that's most familiar is the physical attack. Bus Stop Bishop Nathan is making a verbal attack on the message. And Muslims used to respond to these verbal attacks. Not only is he making a verbal attack, he being disrespectful with these attacks. So the messenger, when Malcolm X used to verbally attack him, when Malcolm X used to disrespect him, he said, I am no longer to suffer the slander and the evil talk from the hypocrites and disbelievers. I'm not suffering from that from them no more. So that's when them pit bulls came out. I love that history. We should revisit. Them pit bulls came out. And everywhere they saw, if y'all want to talk about verbal attacks, we can come and hit you with the teachers of the message. If you want to talk about disrespect, we can come at you with the teachings of the message. But if you want to get physical, any kind of attack, Muslims respond. Yes, sir. That's what I want to make clear about these bus stop Bible battles. Muslims supposed to respond. Yes. Messages say at all times, we are supposed to be able to prove to the lost finds that the lessons and teachings of the message is the fulfillment of prophecy. Yes, sir. That's what we supposed at all times. We're not saying that brothers supposed to be arguing with them on the sidewalk. That ain't how Muslims do. But we got temple meetings. We got newspapers. You got the internet. Muslims supposed to be just as much as he like to we supposed to like to respond. So, messenger said, how strong is the foundation? We build a foundation. It ain't a lot of us, but we building a foundation on the messenger's teachings and fight. Yes, sir. Because that's the condition we in. We're in a condition we need some fighting Muslims. Yes, sir. Brothers and sisters, I'm talking about praying to don't mind fight. We don't want to fight, but it's something that a Muslim shouldn't mind doing. Right. Every time we come to the temple, we should have fighting on our mind. That's right. We don't know what should happen. Just like they used to say in the day, we are peaceful people. We got a history of being peaceful with our people. But the messenger said, if we are attacked, we fight with those who fight with us. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I leave you as I came in the nation of Islam, greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam.
Enjoying the show? Help keep us on the air. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033 to make a donation.
Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the merciful, soul master's day of judgment in which we now live. The alone do we serve, and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is to be served, worship or praise besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves, and treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.
What the black man and woman needs to know about the nation, about the world, about themselves. Muhammad Speaks It. To order your 12-issue subscription to Muhammad Speaks newspaper, 313-371-7033. 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's Teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.